The early 2000s were one of the most exciting times in hip hop. We were shifting from the glossy era of late 90s rap into something new. Mixtapes were booming, ringtone rap was starting to rise, and regional sounds were finally breaking into the mainstream. You had crunk out of the South, the Midwest melodic influence, and the continued dominance of East and West Coast icons. But in that time, a lot of rappers blew up singly overnight. Some had massive debut singles, some dropped platinum albums, and some even influenced culture before quietly fading away. Today we're breaking down 8 rappers who blew up in the early 2000s but fell off hard. Some had the talent, some had the hype, but they all had one thing in common. They couldn't keep up with the ever-evolving rap game. Let's get into it. We gotta start with Chingy, one of the most recognizable voices from the mid-2000s. Born Howard Bailey Jr. out of St. Louis, Missouri, Chingy hit the scene hard in 2003 with his debut single, Right There. The song was a smash, catchy, bouncy, and certified club ready. His pronunciation of words like there and her gave him a distinct southern flavor, even though he was from the Midwest. Chingy's debut album, Jackpot, went platinum fast with hits like Holiday, featuring Ludacris and Snoop Dogg, and One Call Away, kept him heavy in rotation. He was part of the early wave that helped put St. Louis on the map right alongside Nelly. But then things started to fall apart. He had a public falling out with Ludacris and disturbing the peace, which hurt his industry relationships, and his follow-up albums didn't land nearly as hard. And by 2000, Chingy was no longer considered a major player. He released music independently later, but the magic was gone. By the time trap and autotune took over the mainstream, Chingy's sound was already dated. Next up is another St. Louis rapper, Murphy Lee. As part of Nelly's crew, the St. Lunatics, Murphy had a clear lane carved out. He was younger, had energy, and when Shake It Tail Feather with Nelly and P. Diddy dropped in 2003, it went number 1 and won a Grammy. Later that year, Murphy Lee dropped his debut album, Murphy's Law, which went gold. Tracks like What the Hook Gon' Be with Jermaine Dupri showed that he had commercial appeal. The dude could rap, had charisma, and clearly had the cosign. But then, nothing. No second album, barely any features, and definitely no major singles. He stayed loyal to the Lunatics brand, but then the rest of the crew faded, and so did Murphy. In interviews, he said that label issues and a lack of vision for his solo career held him back. Either way, fans were left wondering what could have been. Let's talk about J-Kwon. At just 17 years old, he dropped Tipsy in 2004 and instantly became a household name. That beat was everywhere. House parties, clubs, high school dances, you name it. It even reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. His debut album, Hood Hop, followed, but it didn't hit the same. The rest of the project felt rushed, and none of the follow-ups had the same impact. Critics called him a one-hit wonder almost immediately. Years later, a bizarre rumor spread that J-Kwon had gone missing. He later addressed it, saying he was fine, just out of the public eye. Since then, he's released music independently, but nothing came close to replicating Tipsy's success. He's respected in his city, but in the mainstream, he faded fast. You already know this one. Who? Mike Jones. He made his name literally unforgettable by repeating it in every track. Mike Jones helped put Houston on the map in the mid-2000s alongside Slim Thug, Paul Wall, and Chameleonaire. Still trippin', and back then it became Southern classics. His 2005 debut album, Who Is Mike Jones, went double platinum. His marketing genius even extended it to giving out his real phone number in songs, and yes, people really called him. But it didn't last long. He got caught in label drama with Swisher House and Warner Bros., leading to delays on his sophomore album, When the Voice finally dropped in 2009. The landscape had changed. Drake and Wayne were dominating, and Mike's slower, repetitive style didn't hit the same. He's still around, dropping music here and there, but his window for superstardom had closed. Cassidy was that guy when it came to battle rap. Coming out of Philly, he was known for eating rappers alive in freestyles, but he also crossed over with commercial success. Most notably, Hotel with R. Kelly and I'm a Hustler, produced by Swizz Beatz. Lyrically, he was ahead of his time. He was the prototype for rappers like Meek Mill who could balance the streets with chart potential. But Cassidy's career took a dark turn. In 2005, he was involved in a murder case and spent time in prison. A year later, he was in a near-fatal car accident. Both incidents disrupted his momentum severely. Meanwhile, the industry moved on. Cass kept rapping and even returned to battle rap, but never made it back to that commercial level. His story is one of both immersed talent and tragic timing. Lil Flip was considered royalty in Houston. Dubbed the Freestyle King, he came up battle tested and respected in the streets. He went mainstream with Game Over and then Sunshine, a melodic radio hit that showed he had range. He was riding high, but then it came to his beef with T.I., and it got personal. T.I. called Flip out in interviews, on diss tracks, even pulled up to his neighborhood. It turned public opinion against Flip, and while he tried to respond musically, it didn't stick. After that, Flip continued dropping independent albums, but the mainstream wasn't checking anymore. He'd become a cautionary tale about how fast beef and ego can derail a career. North Carolina's own Petey Pablo gave us two undeniable anthems, Rise Up and Freak a Leak. His rugged delivery and wild energy made him stand out, and he even earned a Grammy nomination. But Petey's success was tied to the crunk movement, and when that faded, so did his radio play. He also served time in prison after being caught trying to board a plane with a stolen gun in 2010. He since tried to return with indie projects and even made a brief appearance on a J-Kwon track, but the mainstream had moved on. Petey Pablo had his moment, but it didn't last. And last but not least, Jibbs. In 2006, Chain Hung Low was a massive hit. It sampled a nursery rhyme and had kids and teens everywhere bouncing, but that was it. One album, one hit. He was only 16 and the industry didn't know how to develop him beyond that single. His follow-up songs flopped and his label dropped the ball. He later said he took time off to focus on business ventures and family. Today, Chain Hung Low is considered a one-hit wonder classic, and Jibbs is more of a trivia question than an active artist. These rappers all had their movement and the spotlight. Some lasted a year, some had a full album run. But whether it was label issues, changing sounds, legal problems, or just bad timing, they didn't stick around. And in the fast-paced world of hip-hop, that's all it takes. But here's the thing, even if they fell off, they left their mark. Some of these songs still hit 20 years later. Which one of these rappers do you miss the most? Who had the biggest fall off, and who do you think deserved better? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe for part 2. Let's go for 1 like for part 2, where we'll break down rappers who fell off in the late 2000s, from Soulja Boy to Rich Boy and more. This is unscripted, unfiltered, off the dome, and I'll see you next time.